Hi, and how are you? My name is Joe. I hope you're well. I run an organization called Hearty, Hearty, and our goal is to help families come together. We are um, starting a new segment of of our organization. Our goal is to help bring out statistics that could help inform decisions about families, your own families, or other people's families, just in case maybe you're a leader somewhere and you also desire to see that families get and are at a better place. So we're going to call it Hearty Statistics, so Hearty Statistics, which will be airing every week. Yeah, so this week we have the first statistic. It's actually not really a statistic, it's a research paper. It's a research paper done by one Martha Teriki Chebet. She, at the time, was doing her doctorate. So she published this, I believe, in 2023. She did it, she was studying at Park University. So she titled the paper as Psychosocial Well-being on Divorcees in relation to church policies on divorce in selected evangelical churches in Nakuru County, Kenya. So there's a lot of talk about divorce, and often it's people's suggestions, not really suggestions, they're opinions, and this could be informed by feelings and a lot of things. But why I thought this was a good place to start is because it's a contemporary issue, as well as there's not a lot of data on the same. So I found it fairly rich. No, actually very rich, not fairly rich, very rich. She's quoted some very good studies conducted in the past by different researchers across the continent and across the world. And yes, so what I'll do in this session, because it's a very big document, I'll just mention a few statistics and a few um, quotes from that I thought were important from the literature review that she covered, and then we'll get to see if it's something you would want to do further reading on. Yes, because it can help you to make a few decisions on your life. Yes, so we go. So the first table that she gives to us here is about the type of divorce that the respondents engaged in terms of percentages. So she categorized this into two, which is formal divorce, where it includes litigation, and informal divorce, where you just say, you know what, this probably isn't working, we might just go our separate ways. Uh, which is an interesting, and the frequency of that was at 25, just 25 people, which is equivalent to 21.9% of the respondents are the ones who went through litigation to be able to formalize their divorce. But a whooping 78% of the respondents just went their separate ways, which is important to note because if we only take the data that is provided by the courts as the divorce cases that were seen from beginning to end, we might have an untrue picture about the severity and the extent of divorces in modern society today. So she went on to look at the type of marriages that the respondents had. So she categorized this between civil, customary, church, and common law, which we also call come we stay. So in civil, those who experienced divorce, just 8.2% of them had opted for a civil wedding or a civil marriage rather. 30.3% had opted for a customary marriage, while 17.2% had opted for a church marriage. And so this is, and the final one is the common law or the come we stay, that 44.3% of all respondents who were divorced in the study reported that their marriage was a come we stay, which is an eye-opening figure because that's almost half of all the respondents. So as we look at marriages, I was watching a podcast the other day that people are not getting married in church. Um, and this study suggests that people are probably getting married. People in church are getting married, just not officializing it. And so the approaches that maybe the church is taking when it comes um, to bettering the lives of their members also needs to include the fact that a number of people are living with each other, also called cohabiting or something. Yes, so 44.3% of all divorcees in this respondent had opted for the come stay marriage. Also, for those who are considering this as a viable way of marriage, we need to ask ourselves questions like, um, what brings about the difference? What brings about a 14% difference between uh, the 30% at customary marriage versus the 44%? That's a whooping 14% difference. And so, are there structures in different other types of marriages that helps married people keep married or be able to spice up their relationship or something? So that's really something worth looking into if you are willing or you want to pursue the come we stay type of marriage. She also assesses the age of the respondents, which is, she categorized this between 1825, 26 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 55, 56 to 65, and over 65 years. So generally, it's a 7 to 10 year uh, uh, a decade. So people within a 7 to 9 years, 7 to 9 year gap. So the frequency was that just 10%, no, 8.2% of the respondents were aged 18 to 25, 26%, no, 39% were aged between 26 to 35, which forms the largest group of divorcees in the sample size. We have 34 to 45, which is 27.9%, from 27.9% of the respondents. 46 to 55, they were 10.7%, 56 to 65 as well, 10.7%, and over 65, 3.3%. And so we need to pay some more attention into the two groups who are reporting very large figures, which is the 26 to around 45. So that 20-year gap seems to be where the bulk of the divorces are. What is missing, and what do we need to do about it? So we can have, if you're a leader somewhere, that's something worth looking into and maybe following up on this paper. It has some very good information that could be of help in making the an informed decision. Um, she also looked at whether the respondents had children. 90% of them responded in the affirmative, while 9.8% of them responded no. So this helps us to also look at the mitigation efforts that are made, especially in regard to the children, as it's been recorded in different researches that divorces seem to have an adverse effect upon the children's lives. So, how is the church looking into this? You might be you might be handling um, the well-being of the parents. How are they? How are you equipping them also to be able to help the children to weather through the storms of divorce? Yes. So those are the main key ones, and the final one was status, respondent status in church, which I thought was a pretty good thing to also look into. And so the frequency of the respondents, or 68.6%, just reported being members in church, which is likely because, of course, there are more members than there are leaders. 9.9% of them responded being workers in church. I don't recall seeing what exactly they meant by worker, whether it's are they full-time ministers or are they staffers in church or something, I don't know. But we also note a 21.5% of the respondents who responded being leaders in church. So it really is a worrying trend in a way. Yeah, so those were the tables that she shared. There were a number of them, but I think those are the ones that I thought were more important to the general public. And the literature review by Akin persons such as Juma AM of 2015 or Mulod Heads. Oh my goodness, these are very hard terms. But they bring out some very, very good things about uh, uh, the things and the ways in which divorces affect the respondents, not really the respondents, but the people who have div- who have undergone through divorce. And one of the things that she mentions, Juma, is solitude, depression, coping coping difficulties among divorcees, amongst an array of other challenges. Another person also talks about suicidal tendencies, stress withdrawal, anger, worry, sadness, depression, anxiety, confusion, isolation, sorrow, and grief. So these are very, very um, major problems that are affecting divorcees within the church and also with outside. So I would recommend the study for anyone looking to develop a policy, a church policy on divorce and handling of divorcees, because we've also documented of cases where uh, divorcees have been denied the privilege of taking the Holy Communion, which is I don't think it's very biblical. So it kind of brings out some of the blind spots that sometimes we do have as believers and enables us to make decisions from um, a biblical point of view and also a data point of view. So I would advise everyone who has the time to engage with it, and I'm sure it will change and improve your life in more than one ways. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in this week. If you do have a research that you'd like me to go through and maybe summarize, you think is important for our discussion, please feel free to comment with it in the comments. So thank you so much for your time so far. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.